Hey, what's up, guys? Today's video will be a little different. Don't have Will today. Will got caught up with some stuff, and then he's out of town for a couple days. Um, yeah, so it's gonna be just me today. But yeah, we're gonna do another bracketology video. Been another great week of basketball. So much has happened. A lot of upsets over the weekend. I think 8 upsets over the weekend. But I'm gonna start out by looking at the bubble and just talking about a couple of things that like jump out to me right away. Is in the last 4 buys, West Virginia got a huge victory against Auburn, came back for, or not came back, Auburn almost came back and beat West Virginia, which that would have been bad for West Virginia, but they secured the win. Huge game by Eric Stevenson. He went crazy like the whole game. He was on fire. Um, and then Kentucky, they lost to Kansas, but they're still hanging by a thread. And then obviously the major takeaway game that I was just blown away by watching it was obviously Oklahoma beating Alabama. That was incredible. I mean, that was just perfect basketball from Oklahoma. They just from the jump, they just came out and they were ready to play. It was impressive. So now we see Oklahoma in. A&M's been on a tear lately. I think when it's all said and done, A&M's probably going to definitely find themselves into the tournament. And then, yeah, Nevada lost a close one to UNLV. That would have helped them, probably would have kept them in the tournament. But there's quite a bit of changes, but let's get into the tournament aspect of it. Let's get into the bracket itself. And let's start in the South region with Purdue versus the winner of Southeast Louisiana and Fairleigh Dickinson. I'm pretty sure that's who FDU is. Obviously Purdue. I mean, they're right now playing the best basketball of anyone in the country. Only that one loss to Rutgers so far by 1 point. We got Purdue going on. Auburn, USC. Auburn's a team that just dropped 2 in a row. USC just beat UCLA in a pretty impressive win for them. One that they really is going to help them, I think, in the long run, because there's not a ton of opportunities in the Pac-12 to get big time wins. So to beat one of the top teams is really big that they got that done. I lean Auburn here a little bit. I think even when they've had some recent struggles and their guard play still concerns me at times, like Window Green, like some shot selection issues for Auburn, but I think they have enough talent to probably, get by USC in that one. Duke and Oral Roberts. This would be crazy interesting. I like this because Oral Roberts, this team might actually even be better than the Oral Roberts team that won in 2021. It's really good. They just beat, I think, who they beat? They beat somebody by 50 yesterday. And they haven't lost in the Summit yet. A. Smith is going crazy. He's doing his thing. And Duke just got a good win, 43-point win. So we had Duke losing that 12-5 matchup before. And I liked what Oral Roberts is doing. But, so let's go with the 12-5 upset with Oral Roberts. Okay, on to Xavier St. Louis. This is another super interesting game just because St. Louis they've been playing really good basketball lately too. They struggled at the beginning of the year, but they're playing really well in the A10 right now. And Xavier, one of my favorite teams this whole year. I think what I like about this matchup is for Xavier to win is I think they'd win down low, the battle of the bigs. Okoro is St. Louis's center, transferred from Oregon a couple of years ago, but I think it would cause issues because St. Louis does have pretty good guards, but I would like Xavier to get by this one. They're having a great year, a great team overall. St. Mary's against Pitt and Penn State. That's an interesting play-in game though for Pennsylvania. If you're from Pennsylvania, I think this would be an extremely interesting play-in game. I don't know who would win. I'd lean maybe Penn State a little. I've seen Penn State play more, so maybe them. I don't know. That'd be good though. Versus St. Mary's, who just had that buzzer beater against BYU on Saturday, which was impressive. Heartbreaking if you're a BYU fan because they've lost some close games this year. But I like St. Mary's. I think the way they play, and then Randy Bennett's system is it's tough to match up with. They play at a pretty slow pace and they don't turn the ball over a lot. They play the type of basketball that is typically successful in March. So I think I like St. Mary's to get by that one. Then we got K-State, Southern Illinois. K-State just continues their unexpected season. They've been terrific this year. Southern Illinois is actually it's surprising. You don't really see Southern Illinois do too much. It's cool that they're in this spot, but I like K-State probably to get by this one. Even though sometimes K-State does have issues with only being like a two-man, like sometimes they don't get much production from other than Noel, their 5'8" point guard who's terrific, and Keontae Johnson. Sometimes the role players struggle to step up. So you could see a close game here, honestly, with that. But some of the role players have been stepping up more lately. Guys like Tomlin and stuff like that. He's been playing better. Yeah, we got Miami and New Mexico, which is a good matchup. Good guards in this game, like Isaiah Wong, and for New Mexico they got Mashburn and House. I mean, this would be a good matchup. A really good one. Mountain West having a really good year this year, but I like Miami to get this one. I think Miami's got enough, a little more options to go to. Where New Mexico, it's less scores, more reliant on two guys. I think Miami has more offensive weapons, and I think that'd be big in a game like that. Let's go on to UCLA and Vermont. UCLA's been struggling a little bit lately. They have, but dropped two in a row. But I think it's more of just missing shots. Like, I don't think anything's necessarily wrong. I think they're just, sometimes basketball you get on a little bit of slumps. I think they're slumping a little bit right now. They're not finding their offense as much. Only scored 52 and then 64 in the last one. So they'll get their offense going, getting back in the 70s, but UCLA should be able to get that one. Tennessee and the Maryland Eastern Shore. Tennessee's terrific. Been playing great basketball. Big win against Texas on Saturday. Then Clemson, Florida Atlantic. Now this is a really good one. Both these teams are playing super well right now. They're both on win streaks. Clemson had to sneak one out in Tallahassee against Florida State. And then Florida Atlantic, it was another solid victory for them. I think they won by 10, I think. So both these teams very impressed with this year. But I'm going to go Florida Atlantic. I think only having one loss to Ole Miss, and I don't know. I like Florida Atlantic. I do want to see them play still. Like I said last week, I haven't seen them play. It's like one of the only teams in this that is seeded above like 12 or higher that I haven't seen, but need to see them play. But based off box scores and their, how deep they have a deep team. They play 9 to 10 guys, which I think it could be good in March. So I like that. I like Florida Atlantic there. Then we got UConn versus Kent State. UConn's struggling lately. I mean, they're 5-6 in the Big East. They're struggling. I think they can correct it. I mean, they got guys. They got Jordan Hawkins, Sanogo. I mean, they have enough to correct it. But as of right now, I like Kent State. I really do. I think the Kent State saw them play a couple of their close games against Houston and Gonzaga earlier in the year, and they're really good. They're a really good team, so they can really play defense well. And so I think this could be another 12-5 upset. And it would probably be a commonly picked one that a lot of people, because Kent State's they're good. They're a good team. Iowa State and Louisiana. If you're an Iowa State fan watching this, I'm sorry what you had to go through last night, because that was pitiful down the stretch. That was rough. I couldn't believe they were just, Tamine Lipsey was pretty terrible in that second half. The whole team was terrible though. Bad shot selection, didn't get to the rim, settled for threes. That last possession was horrendous. It was rough. And then they got blown out to Missouri, which Missouri's a good team, but they got blown out in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. But, I still like Iowa State. I think they can get by Louisiana, who is having a good year. I think they're 19-4, Louisiana is. But Iowa State right now is a bit of a struggle, but they'll bounce back. And once they get their big guy, Kuntz, I think hopefully he'll come back soon. He's been injured since like December. He'll help them a lot. Okay, we got Providence and then Kentucky/Oklahoma. I think even with the way Oklahoma played, I would say Kentucky over Oklahoma. Just with I still think Kentucky's good enough. They got to shoot the ball better from three, though. That's what killed them against Kansas. They shot terribly from three, and they're not a good three-point shooting team in general. But they need CJ Frederick to start hitting shots, and if he does, I think that would help them beat a team like Oklahoma. And then I kind of like the mini upset over Providence here, Kentucky over Providence. I think they could get it done. So we'll go We'll go Kentucky. For now, we'll see if they can even get in. But I think if they get in, I think they'll have success. Virginia versus Furman. With the way Virginia plays and the slow pace that they play with, you always run the risk of being upset when you play such a low possession type of game that Virginia plays. But it can also make it really hard to on the other team too, because they know they're not going to get that many shots up in a game, and it puts. I just Virginia basketball is very fun for me to watch. A lot of people think it's really boring. I love watching it. It's very interesting. You don't see a lot of teams play like Virginia does, but it's fun to watch them. And this team, they're really good. No, they don't got any like elite like player individually. Maybe you could make an argument maybe for Beekman being the best, or maybe for Armand Franklin, but it's just a collection of guys that are all good, solid players that know how to play the game. That's what I like about this Virginia team. They just know how to play the game. Limit turnovers. Defense is phenomenal, like usual with Virginia. So I like Virginia. Missouri, Maryland. An intriguing matchup. Probably be a close game, but I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Missouri this year. They beat some really good teams. They blew out Illinois, blew out Iowa State, beat Kentucky. Had a couple other good wins on here too, but I like this Missouri team. It's a good team, good squad. It's impressive. Definitely exceeded expectations, especially with the first year coach. So they've been impressive lately. Texas versus Eastern Washington. I don't think Eastern Washington's lost a game in the Big Sky yet this year, but I think Texas has a lot of guys that can score. Jabari Rice been stepping up lately. He played really well against Tennessee. I think he was like really the biggest bright spot for Texas, and he played well last night, or pretty well last night too against Baylor. So I like Texas to get by that one, and then let's see. Okay, then we got Alabama, Southern, UT Martin. Alabama took that tough loss, but that's really not indicative of how good of a team they are. They're still really good. North Carolina, Northwestern. This was tough because North Carolina's been really up and down this year. Northwestern. I'm happy to see Northwestern in the tournament. That's really cool. They've been playing great, second in the Big Ten right now, which is not normal to see. But let's go. I'll go North Carolina. I think at some point they'll figure out some consistency. Okay, then we got Indiana College of Charleston. Sometimes I would think going another 12-5 upset, but I don't want to have 3 12-5 upsets. I think all 3 of those 5-12 games are really interesting. But Trace Jackson Davis, he's been balling out lately. And Indiana's just playing good basketball. I think they won like 6 in a row now. So let's go Indiana. They're playing good basketball. Who knows if they'll keep it up by the time the tournament comes, but let's go Indiana. Baylor, UCSB, Santa Barbara. So let's go. Baylor is one of those teams that really relies on their guards, and you need Keontae George taking better shots in general. His shot selection is very poor. It was very poor yesterday. He's got to take better shots. You know what? I kind of want to. I still like this Baylor team, but let's go with a little 13-4 upset over Baylor. We need to have a 13 seed on, and Baylor, because of some erratic decision making, we'll go UCSB. Okay, so we got San Diego State, West Virginia. This would be a good game. Good defenses. San Diego State's they're starting to figure it out. They've been pretty consistent lately. Matt Bradley's got to score better. He's only averaging 13 a game this year. He's been a little disappointing, honestly. I was expecting more out of Matt Bradley, but I kind of like the mini upset here. I like West Virginia over San Diego State in a close one, a real close one, a good game, and that's what we'll take. Gonzaga, Colgate. Colgate has actually they've been in the tournament. I think it's been like a few years in a row now. I think like 3 or 4 years in a row now. And Gonzaga, they still aren't super impressive right now. But let's go Gonzaga here. Let's go Gonzaga. Colgate has had a couple good opportunities to make get upsets in the past couple of years, and they failed to do so. So Let's go Gonzaga. Creighton, Arkansas. A good game, an interesting game, but the way Creighton's playing right now, and they're playing superb. I can't believe they blew out Xavier. They played great. They've been playing great this past 2, 3 weeks. They won like 6 in a row now or 5 in a row. It's been impressive. So I like Creighton. Big fan of Creighton this year. Uh, Kansas and Siena. Siena beat Iona, so they took control of the MAAC. But obviously we're gonna go Kansas here. And then Houston, Milwaukee. We're going to go Houston. We're not going to see a 16 number one there. NC State, Iowa. That's a coin flip of a game, but let's just go NC State. I like Terquavion Smith, Jarkel Joyner. They're really good. But Iowa's got Chris Murray and stuff like that, so they could go either way. Let's see. We got Illinois Liberty. Illinois is finally found some consistency. Won 6 of 7. You can see there's Terrence Shannon back there. Illinois and Kansas, my favorite teams. If you guys didn't know. But let's go Illinois just because they found some consistency lately. Sky Clark is no longer on the team. That has appeared to help with chemistry. Jaden Epps getting more playing time, so I like Illinois there. TCU, Utah Valley. Thankfully for TCU, Mike Miles should only be out for a couple to a few games from that hyperextended knee against Mississippi State, which they probably would have won that game if he was healthy, but they end up losing it. But I still a big fan of that TCU team. Lots to like with them. Have them get by Utah Valley. Rutgers, Memphis. This would be a good game. We had Memphis going all the way to the Final Four last video, and I could see, I could see them having success in the tournament because they have that elite point guard that you want in Kendrick Davis, and DeAndre Holmes is a really good big. But let's go Rutgers this time because I do like Rutgers. I love the way Rutgers plays. Let's go. We got Marquette and Princeton. I do think this is a good Marquette team. This is a really good Marquette team, but also we're making a March Madness bracket video, and we haven't had enough upsets. And it's March Madness, baby. So let's go Princeton over Marquette. The Ivy League, when they get in the tournament, or they obviously one team gets in every year, but like the Ivy League schools do have, fairly decent success in the tournament because the Ivy League is actually, usually underrated a little bit. So let's go Princeton over Marquette. I do like this Marquette team, but also we need a little 14/3 action. So let's do that. Michigan State, Boise State. I think the Mountain West having a great year. Boise State to the top of it. Let's go Boise State here. Let's go. We need to show Mountain West some love, and that's another kind of coin flip game. It could go either way. So let's go Arizona, UNC Asheville, Arizona. Okay, now I'll go each region to the Final Four. We'll go back up to the South, and then we'll go to the Final Four. All right, so Purdue versus Auburn. This, I don't think, will be much of a struggle for Purdue, honestly. I think they would kind of coast by this one. Generally not super impressed with Auburn, and Purdue is very good. Edey's been unstoppable. Love the freshman guards. They just play as a team. Xavier Oral Roberts. I don't see Oral Roberts being able to get to the Sweet 16 again and another magical run, even though this Oral Roberts team might be just as good, but I think Xavier would get by there. St. Mary's, Kansas State. This would be a good game. I think I'm liking St. Mary's though to get by, because Kansas State. I'm worried with a team like Kansas State that wasn't expected to do much, then it exceeded all expectations, and then it's seems like it could be set up for a little bit of an early exit in the tournament is what it feels to me. So I like St. Mary's here. Let's get St. Mary's. Close game though. Miami, UCLA. Ooh, that's a tough one. UCLA though. Let's go UCLA because both these teams have some guys that have had some tournament success, because Miami just went to the Elite Eight last year. And UCLA a couple of years ago was in the Final Four. Let's go UCLA. So we got a little West Coast matchup there. Okay, we got Purdue and Xavier. This is a tough one. It's a tough one. I want to go Xavier here because I think Purdue probably wins 7 out of 10 times, but I think Xavier is one of the teams that can match up with Purdue better than almost anyone in the country. They can defend fairly well, but they score so well. I think even a good Purdue defense wouldn't be able to limit Xavier too much. And I think having a couple good bigs that Xavier has in Fremantle and Nunji, I think could limit Edie somewhat. Edie's still gonna get his, honestly, but let's go Xavier though. Okay, then we got St. Mary's, UCLA. Hmm. UCLA's they've been looking rough, but Mick Cronin coach teams are impressive. This would be an interesting California matchup here, but let's go UCLA. I keep doing that. UCLA. And then I Xavier UCLA. I like Xavier here. I like Xavier here. I think anything UCLA does, I think Xavier can do it better, honestly. I think just in general, the Xavier's got a little more talent, but it'll be a good game. But yeah, let's go. Let's go Xavier. Tennessee, Florida Atlantic. Tennessee, too much athleticism, I think. Yeah, too much length. Tennessee is super long. They are super long on the perimeter, which would make it really tough for because Florida Atlantic's not going to match up size wise. I think that length would bother Florida Atlantic, and so let's go Tennessee. All right, and then I think this is where we have a little bit of our Cinderella run right here. Kent State, Iowa State. Kent State's a team that could do it. Iowa State's a team that's been struggling lately. I think they'll rebound a little bit, but I think we got Kent State here for a little magical run. They've came up oh so close in those big upset games, and Sincere Carey, their leading scorer, he struggled big time in those games, and they still almost won. So if he had like more of an average game, they would have had at least one of those big three upsets that they just missed on. So I like Kent State. Okay, now we got Kentucky, Virginia. I think Virginia too sound, too solid of a team. Would get the win over Kentucky there. And then Missouri and Texas. I think Texas has got too much weapons, really. I think they got too many weapons. As long as Marcus Carr doesn't just shoot you out of a game with some terrible decision making, but they play good defense and they've had good success with their assistant coach. They haven't really missed a beat too much. Okay, Texas and Virginia. Interesting game. And I think I like Texas here a little bit. I think I like Texas to get by. Um, it'd be tough as long as they don't turn the ball over too much. I think they'd do all right to beat Virginia. That's a coin flip game though. I'm not gonna lie. And then the Cinderella run ins for Kent State there. We got Tennessee and Texas, a game we just saw. And I'm gonna lean with the result that we just saw. I think Tennessee is just right now a little better of a team. And this gets Rick Barnes to the Final Four, which he needs. So let's go Tennessee. And it's a battle against his former team. Let's go up to the top right corner. Alabama, North Carolina. We saw this game earlier in the year. It was a crazy one. It was wild game. I think it was like 196 and like quadruple overtime or something crazy like that. And Alabama, they got it done. Alabama got the win. And I'm gonna say Alabama does it again. They find a way in a close game. Intriguing 1-8 matchup. Indiana and UC Santa Barbara. I must say Indiana here because they're playing so well. Indiana has not had a lot of tournament success lately. They don't make the tournament a lot lately. Yeah, let's go Indiana. I mean, they made it last year, but okay. We got West Virginia versus Gonzaga. And this is a West Virginia team. I think they're like 12-8 or 13-8, and they're not overly impressive sometimes, I will admit, but neither is Gonzaga. And I think West Virginia on the right day, Eric Stevenson's feeling it, that maybe they force Timmy into some foul trouble. I say we go West Virginia here. Okay, so we got Creighton and Kansas. This was a phenomenal game in the tournament last year. I mean, it really was. It was a great game. And it makes me think, and this Creighton team's better this year because they picked up Baylor Shireman from South Dakota State, and then Nimhar is healthy. Tough, tough. I like both these teams. Kansas is one of my favorite teams. Creighton is always, they've been fun to watch. We're going to go a little bit of chaos in this quadrant, and we're going Creighton. A little chaos in the bottom half. Okay, Alabama, Indiana. I think Alabama gets by fairly easily. And then we got Creighton, West Virginia, and the 11 seed West Virginia will fall to Creighton. Okay, and now we got Bama, Creighton, and this is extremely tough for me to pick. I can see it going either way. We'll go Bama. We'll go Bama. Took that bad loss, but we don't want to read into that too much, even though I think both Bama and Creighton are fantastic teams. Okay, we got Houston, NC State, which I believe, yeah, that was the 1983 championship with Jimmy V. So we got that going. 40-year anniversary of that. Let's go Houston. NC State could cause issues, but I think the Houston bigs would cause NC State some issues, especially on the glass where Houston really thrives. Illinois, TCU. Illinois still looking for that first Sweet 16 in quite some time, but we're gonna say TCU again. We have TCU as an Illinois fan. It pains me, but I think TCU is a little better. But Illinois is giving me more and more confidence as time goes on. Now with winning 6 of 7, so that'll be interesting. Rutgers, Princeton. The no Cinderella run really for Princeton. We're gonna have it end there with Rutgers, who plays phenomenal defense. Let's go. We got Boise State, Arizona. I like Arizona, but I could see Boise State maybe causing issues because Arizona occasionally will play down to the competition a little bit, and it makes things tough for themselves. All right, so we got Houston and TCU. I'm not fully convinced on Houston being like a fantastic team yet. I think they're good, great, and borderline great. I'm gonna go TCU here. I like TCU. I honestly think they could have made a run last year, but they barely lost to Arizona. So I think this year they're even better. I think this is the year. As long as Mike Miles' knee is fine. They said it's fine. It says it's hyperextension, so he should be good to go. As long as Mike Miles is playing. Obviously, if Mike Miles is playing, then I'm not going to have TCU have this much success. But he should be playing because I've read it wasn't that bad of an injury. Or it wasn't going to be too severe. All right, we got Rutgers, Arizona. And I'm thinking Arizona in a tough one. A little too much length. The bigs of Arizona are really good. With Ballo and Tubelis. Love. Arizona's fun to watch. This is a rematch of last year. If you guys remember, that was that whole controversy of like, did Mike Miles get fouled and then he lost the ball and all that. So it was a great game. It was one of the most intense games. But I'm having TCU win this time. TCU to the Final Four. And this sets up a really interesting Final Four matchup of Alabama and TCU. That's like a football matchup right here. But I'm liking let's go TCU. No. Let's go Bama. They got the resume right now. They took a bad loss. Let's go Bama. Just barely. Okay. And then let's Xavier, Tennessee. I know this might be crazy to some people, and people, especially after they just got beat by 17. I do still really believe in this Xavier team. And I even talked about the one video we made from earlier in the season, preseason. I was like, Xavier's a team I expect out of anyone not in the preseason AP top 25 to make a run. I feel like I need to stand behind that now. I talk about Xavier all the time. I think it's a tremendous team. I got a tremendous coach. It's a bit crazy, but we're gonna have Xavier beating Tennessee, and that would be a interesting matchup. Sets up Xavier and Bama, and to not let's go. Let's go Xavier. I really think this Xavier team, they're good enough. I know not a lot of people are gonna agree with that, and that's okay. Maybe some of you will, but I'm not sure if Xavier's really gonna win a championship with the way this worked out. But this Xavier team, they're good enough to make a serious run in March. Obviously, Bama has a ton of talent as well. Both these teams are super talented. Let's go like 76, 72 in a close one. But yeah, I think I think that's what we got. It's been a crazy little bit of basketball. Got Xavier and Bam in the championship, but appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you in the next video. Will be back for the next video probably. We'll try to film later in the week sometime, but I appreciate it, guys. See you.